Well, thank you for staying with us. I still have Ron now. You were talking about upskilling these entrepreneurs at the SMEs. Could you continue?
Yes, actually, I was talking about the 4 training that we are planning to give at this AU SME first annual forum. The first one will be on financing SMEs. The second will be on quality infrastructure, and I touched how it was important for market access to know the standardization, the accreditation, the certification. Was talking about the SMEs know how to protect.
Okay, Ron, can you hear me? Okay, so while we're trying to get Ron back on, just to recap some of the things we've talked about on the program today, the focus is the AU's SME strategy and how Africa will industrialize the future. So we're just exploring the spectrum of SMEs in Africa. What is being done? What needs to be reviewed? Where are we going with the plan? Can we achieve industrialization going the SMEs route alone? Or we know that there are other areas, but can we do more good with the SMEs? Ron, you were talking about some programs that's on, you're planning on for the first SME annual forum.
We can do everything. We just need the willing. We need to want. If we want, we can.
Okay, so I know the internet has interrupted us a lot, and you were talking about people joining virtually. Internet, we have rural communities, we have people that are not educated, but they know how to do certain things. Is there maybe any plan to bring these people in the fold? Okay. It's quite unfortunate we're having this challenge today, but while we wait to get her back on, I'd just like to talk a bit about what is some of the challenges that we have. Ron has said that most times, I actually thought so as well, that financing, access to finance is one of the most important things. But she has said that is not. It is the education of those that are in the informal sector that needs more focus. She has talked about what is being done to upskill people in this cadre of the economy and what more needs to be done. And that's what we were trying to get to. But of course, finance is an issue. She does, however, emphasize that focus should be on training and retraining of those people who are in this sector. When we get her back, hopefully soon, I'll be taking her on other issues. Finance is important, but then again, there's the issue of power supply. Most SMEs, to be candid, if there is adequate power supply, it cuts down the cost of operation. But it so happens that countries like Nigeria and South Africa, there are 2 major players in Africa, have issues with power supply. For South Africa, for instance, it's load shedding. For Nigeria, we have the grid collapsing almost on a daily, it seems, because in 2022 alone, it has collapsed this is about the 6th time that the grid is collapsing. So we'll take that on. We're also going to try and look at government role. These strategies don't just come off the blue like that. They usually go through mechanisms, and member states of the AU are part of the process. So they decide how they're going to help SMEs grow. They have a role to play. We'll be taking Ron on that role of the government in facilitating the growth of SMEs in Africa. Ron is back, thankfully. There's something I want to ask you before we take on other issues. In the course of your talking, and of course we have this challenge with the internet, I was going to ask, for those that, we're talking about people in rural communities, some don't even have access to internet, and where we have it, there are challenges like what we've been experiencing on the program today. So there are also those who are uneducated and sometimes unwilling to open up and learn new skills, but they are in that fold of SMEs. Are there plans to integrate this set of people and give them a space to be of value in a global value chain? At this point, I think we might need to go on another break, and hopefully by the time we come back, the network will be much better if we are able to get her on. Ron, can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, I guess we'll have to manage with the internet as.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Did you get my question?
Yeah, okay, so I was telling you that we need to do a lot on infrastructure and transportation and a lot of other infrastructure in the continent. And actually, you're right. What we have to, the SME strategy is also touching on the inclusiveness. And we need to embark all the SMEs and the people that we do not have the regular skills, to upskill them, to give them the skills, and even skilled, non-skilled people then participate to the economic development of the continent, and they can participate on the development of SMEs. You don't need to have a degree or a master to start an SME and to make it grow and to create jobs for yourself and also for others. There is a lot of non-educated person that created SMEs and that became a very big enterprises, and that create wealth and jobs. So
okay, I'm just going to jump in before the internet interrupts us again, and just pick your brain quickly on the issue of power supply, because a lot of persons say this is central to SMEs operating and cost efficiency. Countries like Nigeria and South Africa, for instance, I mentioned that when we were off the line, have challenges with power supply. It's either the grid is failing or there is load shedding. What's the situation in Djibouti, and how is this affecting the overall effort to get the SMEs really cracking?
No, the power is the central of everything. You say it, and we should not be. In Africa, we should not have that challenge of energy, because we have the petrol, we have the gas, we have the sun, we have we have uranium. We are one of the we do have biggest energy sources in the continent. So we should not have these challenges of power. And yes, we are right. We cannot operate. It's central for everything. It's central for SMEs to have accessible and also affordable energy to operate. And you asked me from my country in Djibouti, yes, energy is a challenge also.
Okay, but we have to address it.
To operate at full rate, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think the government across countries are doing that maybe they could do differently when it comes to the issue of power if we truly are to make headway with using SMEs for industrialization?
Now, there is a lot of countries that are actually scaling up the energy in their different countries, but there are also some countries in Africa that are lagging behind. And we advocate when it comes to industrialization, you cannot industrialize if you do not have energy, if you do not have power. It's central. And we advocate to all African countries to do whatever is necessary to make accessible, affordable energy to SMEs.
Okay, I think I asked this question in another form, but I'd like you to quickly also chip in here. Women, the issue of the conversation around women and SMEs. I mentioned the underserved population earlier. How are they being integrated in the process? I didn't quite get the response.
Yeah, actually, women women-led and women and youth-led SMEs do have a big part of this strategy, and the strategy focus particularly on the needs of women and also youth-led SMEs. So it's they account for more than 75% youth and women combined. And actually, the forum that we're planning to have at the end of the month in Egypt is focusing on SMEs led by youth and by women.
Okay, let me put an open question in that regard. Are there specific areas? I mean, you've been working you've been working in this area for a while, industrialization, working with women and young people. Are there areas you think that the AU has done well when it comes to the SMEs integration that they deserve commendation? And what areas do you think they can improve on what is being done? They can improve on it.
Actually, what is important to know is the African Union Commission is not an implementing body. We do strategies, we bring together, we do have what we call the convening power with the 55 member states of the continent. But actually, the one who really deliver, the one who really implement the strategies that we do are the member states themselves. So what is important for us is to bring to the attention of the member states the way we can help the continent to develop, but not specifically directly
okay. I think
implementing the strategies. So,
yeah.
But there are certain value chains that we are very keen in developing in the African Union Commission. There are the value chain on agribusiness, the value chain on mineral beneficiations, the value chain on pharmaceuticals. We are preparing now a strategy on fashion value chain. And
okay, let me come again. It's okay to say that the AU.
We're talking about textile and garment.
Okay.
The backbone will be the cotton value chain, and we're also talking about cosmetics, jewelries, and we're talking about leather and leather products. So whatever is going into accessories, shoes, bag, things like this. So there are some value chains that are very dear to our, and that we maybe do more. The cassava value chain was also one of the value chain that we did a lot. Cassava is one of the staple food in Africa, and we think it's very important that we develop our sovereignty is important to develop our food and to give more attention to the food that we can grow in Africa.
One other major challenge to SMEs and industrialization really is the political instability that seems to rock most of African countries. The question I would like to ask is that there's always some crisis somewhere in Africa. Is it possible for us to rise above this to get to the goal of industrialization? Or do you think that political instability will continue to defeat the purpose of all the strategies that AU is putting up?
Actually, industrialization is very important for the political stability and the peace and security of the continent. Whenever you have enough jobs and enough wills for the Africa youth population, you will not find people that will go into this, war and political instability. So people need to have economic stability. And if we succeed to give them economic stabilities, if we give them hope, if we give them job, there will not be a political instability, as we say.
Okay, I'll just take your final thoughts because I'm told we're out of time. Unfortunately, I'm really looking forward to having you on this program again. But for now, let's take your final thoughts on the subject of SMEs as a pathway to industrialization in Africa.
SMEs are the backbone of the development of the continent. And if we all together, member states, Regional Economic Commission, the African Union Commission, but also all the different parts of the continent, we succeed to support the development of the SMEs. That will allow us to give enough job to our youth population, that will allow us to give enough use, and that will allow us to get political stability in the continent.
I want to say a very Big thank you to you, Ron, for speaking with us. And I mean, I felt bad with the internet, and I apologize for the interruptions, but we will get you back on sometime again. Thank you again for your contributions.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you.
All right. I mean, it was a rocky show, but we did get some valid submissions from our guest. On a very optimistic note, yes, industrialization will create jobs for the youth in Africa, and Africa's growth will come from there. We're on the right path. Focus, however, like my guest has reiterated, must remain trained on the continuous empowerment of regional SMEs and young entrepreneurs. Governments, the private sector, and international investors must go beyond theorizing about how Africa's young people and SMEs are central to the stability of the world's economy to working actively to ensure that their value translates to actual gains for the continent. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.